Good morning. Howdy, Mandelbulberanians. This is Steve Sink. We're going to play with the Rough Reflections today. I don't have a whole lot of time today. Very busy week. A lot of things I'm supposed to be doing instead of playing with Mandelbulber, but you know, I love it, so I'll do it, and that's okay. I don't know where we're going to go today, and I don't know what's going to happen. I got auto refresh on. I just loaded up Mandelbulber 2. I'm using remote desktop to get into another set of windows here, another computer in the render beast. I really should have taken a look at the challenge here, make sure we get everything right. We're doing rough reflections. I don't know what virus check's giving me. Sorry, Mandelbulber. Sorry, we're going to get all my little notifications and warnings. So we've got some submissions already with the rough reflections challenge, and I guess I'm looking for announcements. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we set one of our materials to reflections to 1. We want to turn on the rough surface as well, and we want to play with the default value of Monte Carlo. So those are the things we want to do, and that's what we're going to do. And I better get out of here before I start getting notifications and you guys see yourselves on video and see me talking to you. Anyway, oh gosh, why do I keep getting antivirus? I'll explore that later. What are we doing? We're doing rough reflections, and I want to do Pseudo-Kleinian 4. I've already decided that. So I'm already going to go over here and change the formula. I guess I could just type in Pseudo-Kleinian mod 5. I'm going to keep auto refresh on. Reset view. Wow, that actually worked. Reset view took me to a decent view. I know Christoph was doing some fine tuning of the reset view button because it's been not as effective as it could be, and this may have just been a complete coincidence, but that immediately worked to take me right to a good scene. I'm going to just add keyframe, and then this is the stock version of Pseudo-Kleinian mod 5, which is new with Mandelbulber 2.25. What all we got here? What makes it a mod 5? What did Graham do to this puppy? Formula specific parameters. No, set maximer. Maxitor, excuse me. The termination condition is reached when iteration reaches maxitor. Each additional iteration adds more detail. You get XY polyfold. Sphere inversion. I love the sphere inversion. Diagonal fold. And we can start at it and stop it at various iterations. There's a box offset. And then we get to the Pseudo-Kleinian parameters themselves, where it's going to start and stop. Round. Fractal form defines shape of fractal. Algorithm code for selected formulas visible in information box. Oops, I didn't actually mean to alter that, but that was cool. What would anyway, we'll come back to that. I'm not actually trying to change anything yet. Box fold is another parameter we have. And this wasn't intended to be a Pseudo-Kleinian walkthrough. I mean, I don't know what's new in the formula. POW A and POW B. Okay. Transf scale, inverse scale, enable variable scale. Recfold. Don't know what recfold is, but when we enable it, we get some possibilities of parameters. There's a lot of parameters. Where we start and stop it, alternate swap XY, sim, asim, negative neb, xfold, yfold. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff in that. Okay, let me take that back off. Custom to E length after dot zz, custom to E, distance estimation, default is custom linear. Interesting. Huh. It's got its own distance estimation. DE tweak, PK DE factor. Well, there's just a lot of things going on here. So I'm not even going to pretend to understand what all this is. I am just going to play with this default shape right here for a second. I can see we got some noise where that's really breaking down. So here in the ray marching, well, probably about a quarter. Didn't quite get it. All right, we'll play with 0.125. We've got fast enough renderer here that we should be able to hang with that. I'm just adding another keyframe here as we go, just because that's what I do. So what are we going to do here? That's cool. That little shape coming down like that, that's new. And I like this whole starburst. It reminds me of the Japanese starburst rays effect on their flag. Well, the old World War II flag. That's really cool. I'm just going to grab that and move it around to get another little angle at it. In fact, I'm going to go up to a little bit bigger size. Let's go to here and quarter that, what I call quarter HD, which is actually 1 HD. It's not even quarter HD. It's quarter 4K, and somehow that comes out to K. We're going to do K size. Yeah. Connect fractal detail with image simulation as well, so that when I go over here, we're doing detail level of 1. Maximum view 6. Well, that's because we were way the heck zoomed out. So let's go to about 50. Well, that's actually, you can see that all in the background we don't have any visible light space because we're 1600 way off. But when we go to 50, you can actually see the backs. I actually want to make that look to me when we flip through here. That looks good, about 100. I don't even know what we're doing here. We're just making a rough reflection scene. In fact, that's good right here. I like the scene right here. In fact, I actually liked... Oh, I should have saved that as a keyframe. Undo. And actually, well, that's why we're here. Let me just tweak that a little bit. And add. Actually, we can make this one work. I just need to rotate it out a little bit more. There we go. I definitely want to see this little shape here. And now let's see, look at our pitch here. Let's go, oops, wrong one. Well, that one probably can work too. 0 and 0. There we go. Up a little bit. Add that as a keyframe. Yeah, I'm just going to go right to this materials. Now, I want to use a glass material that, not a new material, actually. Darn it. I hit the wrong button. Oh, let me delete that out so we don't get into some material numbering issues. Back to materials. Load materials. I'm going to load a PK glass material. I might have named it Christoph Glass. I actually haven't used it in a while. I used it on some pseudoclinians before. Let's go date modified. Christoph Glass. That's what I want. I started this as a glass material. Christoph tweaked it ever so slightly. I can't actually remember now what he added or changed to it, but then I saved it, and I just, that was a material that I'm going to keep. But we got reflectance at 1. That right off the bat will satisfy the reflectance. But we don't have rough surface turned on, and I haven't assigned this material to the fractal either deliberately. I just lost rough surface because it moved on me. Right back here, rough surface, and actually I might want to take off auto refresh. We'll see. I might actually want to go away from the render beast and just use one video card at a time because it'd be a little quicker. But we're quickly going to get into Monte Carlo, and we're quickly going to have issues. So let's assign this material. Just let me turn off auto refresh just for a second because I want to do some things here without messing this all up. Where am I going to? I want to go to object. Sorry, object. Now we have encountered a glitch momentarily. Why is there he is? I'm sorry, I don't know what that was all about. All the way at the top. I want sorry, global parameters, glass. Let me just go ahead and render that, and let's see if that's going to be ridiculously amazing long time, or just what we're going to get, or if even if it's usable. It may not even be useful. Okay, interesting. I don't know what I expected there. I believe we probably need to turn on, well, let me turn that on, ambient occlusion, if we're going to use it. Reset that to default. Reflection, Monte Carlo. We need to turn Monte Carlo on. Let's just take a look at what this is going to look like with multiple rays with light map turned on the ambient inclusion. In fact, we might want to turn ambient inclusion off altogether here, and I'm going to try that here in just a second. Let's see how long this is going to take. 15 minutes, really? And that's just not lit up enough. I can tell that right off the bat. Well, let me stop that before we get too crazy. And let me turn off the ambient occlusion. And let me go to the lights here and see what's going on with that. I want the lights about like that. Why is that so dark? Yeah, that's super dark. I don't know why. Huh. Looking at the light, it's set fine. Is it just the scene? Let me go back here for a second and let me just put the regular material on there. I suspect it's the glass. Yeah, that's interesting. Why is that so incredibly not working? Well, then this will be a chance to figure some stuff out here. Let's go back to the material. Reflectance was 1. Fresnel equations for reflectance. Rough surface was on. Oh, and fast mode won't really get us what we want. Ah, do I have reflectance and transparency on, I wonder? I do. Da-da! Turn off transparency. I don't want actual glass. I want a mirror shape here. That's what's happening here. I had reflections and transparency going at the same time. Well, let me just see what just reflections now looks like with the transparency off. And that should help with the render times too. Oh, and then I have to reassign that material. Okay, well, at least we figured out what was going on. And then if I would have created the material from scratch, which I probably should have done, but I was trying to just get here quickly. Okay, so yeah, I don't want a gray material. In fact, I'm sorry, Christoph Glass. Whatever plan I had for you is now going to go bye-bye. Let's just start over. Sorry, new material. And I'm going to want to turn... I mean, it's really going to be the same thing. I just want to start from scratch so we can kind of get a better hand on what we're doing here. Reflectance 1. We may want to even use a reflectance map. And we may want to use some color reflectance as well. Surface color reflectance. Turn that on. I'm just going to copy. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I want a basis to do some randomizations, and we're going to paste that into there like that. Now, I don't know what that's going to do in terms of anything. And then, are we selected on this material? Yes, we are. Okay. Well, now, sorry, let me stop this, because now I want to know what... Let me turn that off and see what that does. Yes. Wow, look at that. I don't know what I expected to happen, but that was not it. Okay. Turn that back on. Hit reflect, or render, and now let's try... Let me just let that render out here for a second just to see what that's going to look like as we get a little bit less noise. 2 minutes, really? What have I got? Do I got all my video cards running, engaged? Yeah, I got 5 video cards crunching away on that. They're all working pretty good speed, even according to Windows. Well, yeah, well, I mean, it takes some computing power. This is not going to take that long, actually. It might be less than a minute for a 1K frame. That means 4K would take us forever. But anyway, that's not what I want yet. But what I want to do is I want to randomize that and then see how does that change the reflectance, or does it? Huh. So what we're doing is we're playing with the reflectance color. And what does our pop-up tell us? Do we get a good pop-up? And it says material reflectance gradient enabled. So this is our reflectance gradient. And honestly, I just hit the randomization button. Let me try something that looks a little more... Oh, that's interesting. What would that happen? Would that just make... Yeah, that's just... It's going to just reflect red. We paste that back into there. Hit render again. And now, what happens if I play with the roughness? Let me paste roughness in here as well. See, now pasting this color scheme into here turned it to a grayscale continuum colorization. What do we get when we hit that? Do we materially see a change? Yeah, look at that. We always see some speckling. Instant speckling. That did change the roughness, not in a manner that looks predictable or controllable. Obviously, it's grayscale. Brighter is higher roughness. Fair enough. Seems intuitive enough. Yeah. Stop. And you know, I'm just... I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And maybe you do. As you're watching me, you're going, Steve, do the thing. Do the other thing. And I'm like, I don't have luminosity turned on. But see, I love that the look that thumbnail gives me there. But, don't know if I see a correlation between that and reality. And I don't actually have any luminosity turned on. I was just trying to put a luminosity gradient on there. Let me go to the luminosity. I don't actually want to do anything with luminosity, do I? Well, you know. A value of, say, 0.2. I rarely get good results with luminosity, and it's not... I mean, it's just me. It's not the effect. I just don't feel like I can use it as well. I actually have a lot of fun with using animated luminosity textures, which... Am I doing that? I guess I'm doing an animated luminosity texture just for the heck of it. Where are we going? We want to go probably to a D. We want to find a texture map. Come on. Oh, texture movies. Fire background 2. Coming into here. Back off 1, 2, 3, 4, and then type in 1, 2, 3, 4 wildcard characters. Click here to see if it still took. It still took. Meanwhile, this is still rendering. I hit render. So I got a strong effect instantly. In fact, if I even take this to 0, I bet I still get this effect because I'm using the map. Yep. See, you still get effect just by putting a map in there, even if the luminosity is set to 0. Let me turn this luminosity gradient off and then see what that gets us. And I'm going to turn the Monte Carlo off as well. We'll do the final in Monte Carlo, but I would like to see at least an actual image here, and then Monte Carlo will hopefully clean it up a little. I'm going to end up killing all this, by the way. I don't like any of this exploring that I've done here. Alright. Darn it. Let's not just delete it, though. Let's just fix it. Let me go back and turn off luminosity. But we had to play with it. You know, you had to play with it. Oh, I'm in the wrong material. That material. There we go. Let me turn off the roughness for just a second. Keep the reflectance on, reflectance gradient on. But I really want to kill, let's see, actually I want to click here and just reset to default, turn that off. And I think that's about all we've done. Let me hit render to get a level check here. That's not a level check. Yeah, to see a state of the render. Okay, that's really dark still. Why is it so dark? Because we're not using ambient occlusion of any sort at all. Let's try that. I mean, we could light the whole scene with just ambient occlusion. Like that. Oh, very bright and colorful, and that's not really what I'm going for at all. Meanwhile, back at materials, did we reflectance? Are we using Fresnel reflectance? We're not using Fresnel reflectance. Let's use Fresnel equations for reflectance, and let me alter that, and we do have roughness turned on. We don't have roughness turned on. Okay, here we go. Let me hit that to see what that looks like. I don't have auto refresh turned on just because I want to change more than one parameter, and I don't want it locking. Oh yeah, okay, much brighter. There we go, much brighter. We're gonna play with some. That's because we hit the Fresnel. Turn off the Fresnel, and then I want to turn it back to that. That's what I want. I don't want Fresnel on. Maybe I want to. I don't know what I want to do. Actually, I want to take a look and see what this looks like at 4K, and I don't have. This should render fairly quickly. I don't have Monte Carlo turned on. I just want to see what this looks like at a decent quality. Yeah, well, that's just not. It's just not. Well, you know, sometimes sometimes we suck. Other times we're awesome. So which one are we at today? Are we at suck or at awesome? There is no middle ground. Well, you know, I just don't like the color scheme at all so far. Way too purple, and that's way too crowded. Let me go back to. Let me bump that back down to quarter size. I do like that color scheme better. Then I detail level. You know, I like the shape here. I just feel like I want to play with materials. I don't want to play too much with shapes, which is normally what I would spend forever. I actually like the thumbnail better. Was our default better and we've gone away from that and gotten worse? Feels like it. Okay, let me turn the ambient occlusion back off. Let me get. Actually, let me just go into fast mode for a second. What is this going to look like in fast mode? Yeah, that's not going to help me at all. I don't want shapes. I'm not controlling shapes right now. I do need full mode. What else can I do to make this go a little faster? I guess I can endure a little bit of noise. Let me go back up to a quarter here. And it's just bugging the hell out of me that I can't see very clearly in this image. And I can always just turn up the lights, I guess. Oh, yeah. Is that going to do what I think I needed to do? No. I was hoping that was going to be easy fix. I'll just change the decay function. That's all I have to do. Double my intensity of my light, and I'm going to turn on auto refresh now. All right. I could have changed the fill light. I mean, there's a number of ways to brighten up the scene. Oh, well, first off, I need to stick a frickin' light in the middle of this thing. Place move light. Do I have my wireframe? Yeah, I got wireframe on. Place move light. I want to put it right there. That's exactly what I wanted, and I want to increase the intensity. That'll work. New light. I could have duplicated it, but let me put that one here. And I'll increase that a little more reddish. Not too much. I want to just make it, oh, that's actually orange. Pink. Good enough. Probably need to crank the intensity a little. And good enough. I want to put some primitives in here too. And I'm just stalling. Stalling for what, I don't know, but it just didn't immediately get an awesome result, and now I have to work at it, and what are we gonna do? What do I not normally put in scenes? I don't ever put cones in scene. What the heck? Let's put a cone in the scene. Not delete cone. I want to do place cone. Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna look like, but it's gonna look like that, and it's massive. Okay, let's just crank that in half and in half. Yeah. I actually want it more narrow, like that. Why? I don't know. Do I want to rotate this thing? I want to repeat it. Why? I don't know. We're just doing stuff. I'm like way out 7. Yeah, it's like that's not even visible on the screen, really. I guess I can half that. Few more visible. I guess I'm just super zoomed in here. What's our material? The color won't translate, but everything else will translate. Why did I do that? I don't know. I'm just doing stuff. Caps, yeah, we want caps. Empty inside. We want to rotate this in some manner. Am I spinning it? Yeah, I'm just spinning them. Sorry, wrong axis. I envy Christoph the way he just goes, hey, I'm going to spin the x-axis, and I know that it's right there, and then there, and then there. I don't ever know where the heck I am orientated. I just move sliders and see what happens. Yeah, rotating those is just not getting me what I want. That'll work. Pointed towards, they all pointed towards the middle, or they're all pointed, where are they all pointed to? They're all pointed to 0, 0. I'm not sure where they're all pointed to. I think it's just all aligned along the axis. They're all pointed straight along that axis. Sub-Complement? I was just trying to cut chunks out of the scene, and maybe I'll have to go back to a bigger... just interesting though. You can cut up the radius with using. I just want to break up the scene. Animated. This is super cool. It'll cut lines through your scene, and it's not going to do it fast enough in real time to see what I'm talking about. But these lines that are created by minusing the primitives from the shape. See, there's that line there. if I animated this, I could spin these lines, and I can make lines going through the entire scene. And I've done that in a couple of videos, and it's a cool effect. And I have not killed that effect to death in a long time, so maybe I'll take another look at that. And then you got your rev sub, that ain't gonna do nothing. Intersection union is what we started. Intersection, however, might do something interesting. Yeah, so every place there was one of those primitives and a fractal, we'll now seeing the intersection of those. I want to go back to Sub-Complement, and I just want to cut out those sections. So it really doesn't matter what material I used if I'm just going to, if I'm using it in invisible primitives, and it might render faster that way. I don't know, I was just playing. I don't know what that was trying to accomplish. I wonder if I tried to randomize some of these things. What can I randomize? Nothing. Ah, look at that. Look at that. I can actually randomize the parameters of the cone. I don't know that I've done that before. I don't know what I'm going to get. Let's not turn on do not randomize integer booleans. Let's hit medium randomizer and see what happens. It's still rendering in the background. This may not have been a good candidate for the randomizer. I might have to just speed this section up or edit it. Here we go. We're starting to get results back. And I'm not going to be able to see the primitive unless that's one of the alterations to change the mode, the Boolean mode. Yeah, this is not lending itself to rapid randomizing and then looking at the results. Well, in this case, let me stop. Okay, in this case, I actually am just looking strictly at the shape, so I do actually want to turn that on fast mode. Boom. Now, let me go back over here. Randomize. Heavy randomize. It should load up some shapes really quickly. Boom. Yes. Yes. Okay. Proof of principle. I just really wanted to show you some stuff. See, now that's an interesting variation on my randomization. It's going to put, that's not usable, but that's just showing you interesting results. Speaking of interesting results, I guess this one looks to be about the most cutaway. Maybe that one would have been a good one. Yeah, I don't know what effect I'm looking for. I'm just hoping that, see, that one looks a little more interesting. I'm just hoping that something's going to pop out of here from, actually that might have worked too. It's too late to keep it. I don't know what is causing that effect. Main primitive Boolean operator turned to 1. So we just mainly, it got in the way. What's going on then with calculation order? Rotation. The height has been changed. By the way, if you put your mouse over here, you can see what has been changed on the randomization for each one of those. So in this one, we did just rotation. This one, main primitive cone empty, was changed to a value of 1. Empty of 1. Here we changed the Boolean operator mode, basically calculation order, whether we made it empty or not. You can see each of the parameter that got changed. In this case, caps were removed. I just want to use this one for a second. Oh, what am I looking for? Actually used. There we go. Just curious what that changed to our scene. Is our scene even usable now? Let me go back out of fast mode. I may have just totally wrecked our scene. Okay. I'm gonna go to 4K on this one, guys. I don't have Monte Carlo turned on. Huh. Let me go back to my material. And I want to change this to rough reflect. And what else do I want to do to this? Really, I just have reflectance turned on. Do I have the rough surface on? I do have rough surface, and I have not played at all with that value yet. I'm going to have to go back to here. What am I looking for? Oh, material edit, sorry. Because I want to change the roughness. Man, I'm going to turn that shape off. Just for now. Get our shape back. I don't know that that was actually doing what I wanted it to do. Include primitives in alpha channel with visible shadows of fractal objects. No, that's not really something I need to use at this moment. All right, let's. This is our scene. This is what I want to do. This is the view I want. I want to put it in a mirror box. I just saw Ron do that, and I love the mirror box. And I'm going to make another material. Actually, I haven't really done anything to this material. I'm just going to turn the reflectance on this material to 1. Actually, let's go back to the object and give that box the same material that everything else has. Like that. Alright, our cone was a failure. This box, though, is going to work better. And how's it going to work? I wanted to make it empty inside. And I want to make it about 12 by 12 by 12. I'm not seeing it at all. Well, let me just set position of box here. All right, so now we should have reflectance. That's because I don't have. Well, that shouldn't make any difference. I do have trace reflections and transparencies on. Come on. Adding that ambient occlusion really slowed things down. Huh. Why can't I see the back wall? Is it too back? Let's go 10. Not 2. Oh, it is that small. Is our world that small? And box, align, rotation to camera. Maybe even smaller. See that at 4K. How long is that going to take? Why is it so noisy? Go back to my material. My roughness. That's the wrong material. Go back to my material. I have the reflectance. Let me turn that off. And see, I was playing with that and didn't actually do anything with it. Turn that, double that actually. And that just turned into a muddy mess. That totally turned into a muddy mess. I guess we go back to the reflectance material. Like that. All right. That looked horrible without doing that. Let's take a look and see what this is gonna look like. Take off auto refresh. Put on the Monte Carlo. Oh gosh, I want to see. Yeah, I'm gonna do Monte Carlo, and I'm gonna do ambient occlusion, and we're gonna come back and look at those. We're gonna look at it with and without ambient occlusion, and the benefits of using my Q dock is I'm now going to chunk this in here, and this is with ambient occlusion. Go back to effects, turn that off, and then try that. And let me look at those two scenes, and we'll come back, and I've added both of them to the keyframe. You can always see that's much darker without the ambient occlusion. I can just tell that from the thumbnail. So that let's let that render out. Let's see what we get. This may not be as cool as I'm thinking it's going to look, because I think that's pretty much the finished result there, and it's a little noisy. And what was our roughness at? I think I turned it back to just the default. I really need to get a better render going to rough surface. Is that default? Okay. We'll be right back after these short messages. And we'll come back after this is done. Hit render queue, and let's see what the initial says is going to take, how long it's going to take initially. Also got my task manager up here. That's taking a bit to compile. All right, all 5 cards have engaged. They all look like they're running 100% or so. It says an hour and a half. Let's hope that's more like 10 minutes. But we'll come back. Checking in on things real quick. We got all 5 cards, 2070s with one 1080 Ti, all firing away, 100%, crunch, crunch, crunch. They've been going for 20 minutes. It's only a quarter of the way through. So it looks like it is going to take about an hour. I might speed up near the end. In fact, actually, we may not even be getting enough noise now that I think of, I don't get to see the noise rating. It doesn't give me real-time rating when I'm at the queue and I want to look at the noise level. So we may not even be getting to 1% noise. It may get to the sample rate. In fact, shoot, if that wasn't 20 minutes, I would just in fact, I'm going to kill that second image. I'm going to let this first image run out. We'll take a look at it, and I can already tell that the other one wasn't really light enough anyway. This looks like it'll work. I'm going to let this one run out for the full however long it's going to take, and then we'll go back, and we might probably have to change the number of samples, because I doubt we're going to get to 1% within 100. Basically how the Monte Carlo works, it's going to take a number of samples for each pixel. Well, anyway, it's going to keep taking samples, and until it reaches this target noise level. Now, if it does 100 samples and it's only at 2% noise, it'll stop at 2% noise. So this, if it's 1,000 and it reaches 1% noise, that's where it's going to stop. So changing this really high isn't going to hurt you, unless, of course, it's going to take lots of calculations to get to your target noise level, in which case it will take that long. But the point is, I wanted to get to 1%. I don't really care how many samples it takes to get there, unless it's something absolutely ridiculous, which it might be, because it's going to take us pretty much an hour to get either to 1% or to 100 samples, and I suspect it's going to be 100 samples and not 1%. Anyway, it can still be very good and just work just fine. We'll see what happens, and then we'll tweak it and try it again. Well, we are 2 minutes still out from being done. It's taken an hour and 11 minutes to get 97% over the way through. So I'm actually not going to run this again just to see if it was the noise or the samples that we hit first, because it looks like it's going to take a good hour and 15 minutes or so. I don't know. We'll see. We might do a jump cut to me announcing, hey, it turns out it did the full 100 samples after all. I don't know. Man, it really is going to take longer than expected. That's not rare, but more often than not, it takes less time than expected and not more. To recap what we did on the settings and why it probably taken so damn long. It's 4K image, first off. Boom. That's going to get you. We actually had turned the ray marching down to 0.0125 as well to kill the noise. But the detail's only on 0.25 because we did the connect fractal detail with image resolution. So when I adjusted the size from the 1K to 4K, it also adjusted the detail level. On the effects pane, we have ambient occlusion turned off, and I would have bet anything that it was turned on. Oh, it is, because we turned it off to run the other image. So ambient occlusion on the Q image is actually turned on, and we had the intensity doubled, but the quality was 4 and it's multiple rays with light map. So that's what's taken so darn long. I could also, oh darn it, I should have changed the ray tracing down to about 2. Darn it, that would have made a big difference, and actually it would have materially changed the way things looked, and I didn't do that. So something to consider. Change that ray trace, reflection, or transparency depth. On the samples, we won't know if I hit 1% noise or 100 samples first, and in about 18 seconds it's going to be done. So let me get to the image folder. It's going to automatically put it in my name Mandelbulber images. That's the default location for the queue. And go back to Mandelbulber. And it's still, why is it still calculating? Because it's writing the file, maybe? Yeah, that was weird. An hour, 13 minutes, 52 seconds. And should be this picture right there. Okay. Good, cool. I like that. I like the look there. This came out well. This was not worth an hour and 15 minutes of waiting. I really should have played more with this. This is pretty good though. So this is going to be my result. Darn it, I was hoping for a better look than that. I do like this back, that rough surface reflection there, which is really the whole point of this. Actually, this whole shape, okay, I'm reevaluating that. This whole shape here is just a reflection, and it looks awesome. I guess it's really this foreground shape that I wish I had a little bit more. In fact, those, you know, that's okay. We can do a couple things here. Let's go to here quickly, back to the object. What happened if I did turn those cones on again? And I'm going to only do an HD size to find out. But actually this time I'm going to run, we're going to hit render here. And then that way, see, look at the noise, 24,000, you know, that's going to go down to 1. Or, in fact, let me stop that. Stop. Just in case it is the samples that we run out of first, let's go ahead and go 1,000 samples. It'll still stop at 1%, but this way we won't get to 3% and that stops at 100 and then have to redo it all over again to get less. So we're going to do it that way. I also put on MC Soft Shadows while we're here. And that is it. Let's see how long that's going to do. Well, that's going to be hopefully less than an hour because we're only at HD size rather than 4K size. Let that compile for a second. Surely adding soft shadows to the thing. Well, we didn't change reflection depths either. That was another thing we were going to do. Stop. I want to change that to say 3. And it might have been that we ran out of samples, which is why it returned such an incredibly high value on the time, because we truly may not have run out. We may have just run out at 100 samples for that hour and 15. That would be unfortunate. It starts with a ridiculously high noise of you know, tens of thousands of percent. This is the default pseudo-Kleinian mod 5, and we do have full reflection, full rough reflections turned on in Monte Carlo, but there's not anything else going on in this. We turned the transparencies off, And we are using ambient occlusion, I guess, but that's about it. But I always use ambient occlusion, or more often than not. Yeah. The MC soft shadows, that does not. Soft shadow cone for mainline is defined by soft shadow cone angle. Yeah, that should be fine, but 4 hours and 51 minutes. Well, we'll come back and we'll see how long that really takes. Perhaps it is... No, this is the HD image, not even the 4K, but I guess we'll see. Oh, I turned on the... I turned on the... gosh, I'm scatterbrained. I turned on the cone. Would that be materially changing the render time? It's just cutting sections away. I don't know. We'll come back. We'll see. I'm curious now. Okay. Well, Gio's enjoying our live stream. One thing I noticed was that we have the mirror box going, and we have those repeating cones, and they're interacting with each other and the scene. And so that's actually breaking up the whole scene in those slats and lines, and looks really cool. And it's really going to take 4.5 hours. And all my cards are... This is on the Render Beast too, so that's way too long. I would never run one image for 4 hours. Yeah, that's not true. I've done that many a time, actually. But I don't... Strangely, the more power I get, the less I want to tie it up in one thing for hours and days. Although I don't have another project rendering at the moment, so I am between projects, which is why I'm doing this tutorial, although I have stuff I'm supposed to do. So anyway, not a tutorial, I'm not teaching you anything, you're just watching me and as we discover things together. Look at all those 5 cards crunching away. Look at that thing telling me it's going to take 4.5 hours. And, Gio's got his purr going. What are we going to do about this? I guess we're just going to have to let it run. That looks like a cool scene. If we're going to stop it, we're only 3 minutes and 30 seconds into it. If we want to make any adjustments, I should make that adjustment now. But we'll just let that run. We're going to let it run. We're going to come back in 4.5 hours. It's only an HD image too, but man, if that was 4K, it'd be what, days? We're having weeks and days? Cool. All right. So this was fascinating. It took 45 minutes. Why did it take 45 minutes? Does that mean it added... Yep, autosave. Oh, I guess it's only HD, but why did it only take 45 minutes? That is very cool. We like that. That was worth waiting 45 minutes for. I feel like I want to do this then at 4K size. And then see if it truly takes. So Q, yeah, 4K, Q, add current settings. Why does that look like it's, do it this way so I can check this out. All right, we're going to come back then. Is that really going to be 20 hours? That would be more like 4 or 5 hours. So that was only 45 minutes. That's interesting. Very interesting. Now I don't know whether to post that or not, or what to do. We'll just see how long that's going to take. It took 2 hours, 38 minutes, 25 seconds, and we had 150 samples and 0.88 average noise by the time we got to our noise, and it auto-saved fortunately. Let me just quickly grab both of those and copy them. All right, here is our 4K rough reflections challenge image, and that looks pretty darn good. I love that effect that our Boolean mode primitive cone with the rev sub, I can't even remember now what all we had. Let's take a look at that real quick. Back here at the object primitive in Sub-Complement mode. Yeah, that was it. Sub-Complement to chop away wherever the cones would appear, it's going to make negative space. So these would actually be taken up by giant cones. So one thing we could do is we could go back here. We could turn that to just regular old union, just so we can see what this looks like as a shape. See, we can't even see anything. There's so many, yeah, that's interesting. That's where we got those bands, is from the massive amount of cones that are in this scene. That's very, very interesting. But that would not be interesting at all to see rendered. What would our other choices be? Rev sub A. What would that gonna do for us? No. And then intersection would be the other one, which looks pretty darn cool, actually. Is that our scene? Is that what we have already? It looks like kind of what we have already. Yeah, that. Sorry, I need to get my screens going here, right? Is that the same thing as that? Well, let's give it a try. Let's go over to full. Is that gonna be 2 hours? Yeah. What the heck? Get rid of that. Add current settings, and let me just render that out, and we'll see. I guess it's gonna be 2.5 hours. I'm trying to see if it changes. Does it look different than? Yeah, it is. It's going to be very much different, but I suspect it's going to look like the last one we just did. But anyway, okay, this is going to be our scene for now, unless that third one looks materially different, and then I'll punch back in. Thank you for joining me here today for Rough Reflection Challenge. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot and got some pictures that I liked. I didn't do as good as well as I'd hoped, but you know, you keep trying, and sometimes things happen and sometimes things don't. I like this a lot. In fact, this is easily a basis for a lot more continued experimentation. Honestly, this is really not the end state, but this was a cool intermediate state. I like this. This is cool. All right, thank you for joining me here, and we'll see you next week.